Right, I just want to put up this little clip that is was inspired by somebody's post. So somebody just come on and got their own regular thing, and they just posted about how they felt about this, current situation. So great points. So what I've done is I've took some notes from what I thought of this clip, and I've integrated some on my own thoughts. But I will put a link for you to watch this guy yourself, and I think you'd find it quite interesting. Basically, these are some points made by a guy who has clearly been part of the masses for some time, and by that I don't mean it with disrespect. I just mean part of the amount of people that have just been silent or just not thought anything about what's going on currently. He titles his clip, his video, "I've been a coward, but am no longer willing to stay silent." Right? And the reason I think that some people should get this is because this is coming from a perspective of the majority of people. So there's no conspiracy theory here. He's just like a normal bloke talking. Right? He's an intelligent guy. So this Dan J. Gregory is his name, right? He basically says, I'm abbreviating it here, it is of course difficult and scary to speak out or stand up or say what many are already thinking, because you're scared of ridicule from your peers, your work colleagues, your friends, and even your family. You don't want to appear to be out of the ordinary or out of the norm. Now, combine that with the only information that you've ever seen or ever known comes from mainstream media and others that watch mainstream media, then of course it's totally understandable that the majority of people are still going to be totally unaware as to what seems to be really going on here. Right? This person goes on to talk about the dangers of conspiracy theories and theorists in the same way that any healthy-minded skeptic person would or should. So that's the majority of people. The majority of people, you think anything out of the narrative and they think straight away it's conspiracy theory. And, I'm a skeptic too, and I wouldn't say that ever I would engage in conspiracy theories, but I'm a realist, and this person seems to be becoming along the same line. So at least, listen, hear him out, see what you think for yourself. The prompt that pushed this person over the edge in terms of leading to him posting this post was when he was walking past a school and he saw children looking sad as they were being placed into a boxed off area with screens that separated them into fours. This guy has no children as yet, but he and his wife shared aspirations of having a family together, not in what he feels the future may become. He then goes on to say that he has absolutely no denying that the COVID-19 has created loss of life and huge and tragic upset to many. However, painstaking and stringent verified research has shown that this current situation in terms of deaths, statistics and risk to society is by no means on par with many of the draconian measures being implemented. Measures that are stripping us daily of our very human rights with absolutely no suggestion that they will ever be returned to us. Look at the example of our children being divided into clear view boxes, separated of voice, touch and smile, as we are all being. The damage to our very social fabric, how we all see one another, or not, as the case may be anymore, will become immeasurable. Even getting together in church to pray is forbidden amongst us. Our beautiful elderly are dying alone, our beautiful children are suffering, for God's sake, all under the guise of this COVID-19. This is a time to tune out from the mainstream narrative being enforced and see this situation for what it is really becoming, a grab for political power, and much less about the so-called deadly virus. Just look at what has been happening in Hungary and Belarus, where they have been cut off of the internet and communications to the outside world, among far more draconian impositions, I've no doubt. These countries are not as far away from us as you might think. Look at the previous rights we had, but have no longer. How many more could we all lose? And finally, seriously, the potential consequences here separate none of us and will affect all of us for sure, yet divided we all seem to be, regardless that it will all surely lead to our demise, all of us. The time has surely come to instead stand together and turn on the power that we have as a whole, to tune out of the mainstream narrative that is being imposed upon us, and to rise up in order to say what our democracy should at least really look like. The mask does not represent keeping you safe. It represents keeping you quiet. This great video ends with, this is the time of consciousness revolution during a summer of freedom. Really good poignant clip. It's by somebody who is certainly not jumped on any bandwagon, has been quiet for ages, has gone along with it until he just can't anymore. Just hope it make maybe some of you that are feeling a similar way find your point where you can't anymore, where you actually strive to do something and stand up as a whole. You know, you want to be able to tell future generations, if we ever exist to see them, that during this period of time in history, you did something. You stood up. You didn't just sit down and hide away and not be counted. You stood up and said your part, however small that may be, and you said it to others. So I would encourage you to watch this video, and I would encourage you to share it with everybody. Right.